We've got a massive game to kick off our Saturday morning. We're wasting no time in Week 9 as number 8 Ole Miss travels to take on number 13 Oklahoma. A game that is massive for the SEC standings, massive for the college football playoff race, and one that could be very, very close. Both teams enter this game at 6-1. The winner of this game certainly keeping those playoff hopes alive. The loser not completely out of it yet, but the room for error gets significantly smaller. So who's going to walk away with a win out of Norman? Who's going to get it? Will it be the Rebels? Will it be the Sooners? That's what we're here to talk about today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. So glad you could join us. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. We're beating out over 80% of the national handicappers. Done so each of the last 6 years. So if you want to win big with us today, the link is down in the description below for you to sign up for. Again, over on thegridironexpert.com. Start winning big with us right now. All right, number 8 Ole Miss, fresh off a narrow defeat on the road against Georgia. They put up a really, really good fight between the hedges against Oklahoma, who bounced back from that bad loss against Texas with a dominant win on the road at South Carolina. You talk about the implications of this game. This is a big game for both teams. For me, it's a bigger game for Oklahoma. Why? Because it's been proven that you can still make the college football playoff as a 2-loss team. That can happen, right? And you look at the remaining schedule for both of these programs, there's a very good chance that Ole Miss wins out after this. The Rebels' remaining schedule after Oklahoma is South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, and then on the road at Mississippi State. 3 home games, then on the road against the Bulldogs. Ole Miss will be favored in all 4 of those games. Oklahoma, meanwhile, after this game, they have to go to Tennessee, to Alabama, and then they host Missouri and LSU. All of those teams currently residing in the top 20. So a loss here for Oklahoma probably ends their playoff hopes, because I just don't see them winning out the rest of the way. It would be very difficult to win those next 4 games. A loss here for Ole Miss doesn't really end it. They would still more than likely finish the year at 10-2 and would have their shot at getting into that 12-team field. So a really, really big game here for both teams, but Oklahoma certainly a much tougher road ahead after it. Let's dive into it. We'll start on the offense. Ole Miss, I was so impressed with them last week against Georgia. I mean, you take a team that hadn't played on the road since week 2. You take a quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss that had never started on the road. His first road start was going to be in between the hedges and Athens in a top 10 matchup, and they played extremely well. 351 yards, 35 points. This ran out of gas in the end, but Chambliss accounted for 305 yards. 305 of the 351 that Ole Miss had, Trinidad Chambliss put up. Had 3 total touchdowns on the day. I mean, it was unbelievable. But obviously coming into a game now, on the road now against Oklahoma, which is still very tough, against a very good Oklahoma defense that one could argue is better than that of Georgia, Chambliss needs help. He can't do it all by himself. Can't do it all through the air by himself. He can't do it all with his legs by himself. He needs someone to step up. The Rebels average over 187 rushing yards per game. They were held to 88 last week. And about half of those were from Chambliss, right? So you've got to find a way for Quan Lacey to get back involved. You got to find a way for him to get going. You've got to find a way for someone to make some more plays other than your young star quarterback, right? This team averages nearly 500 yards per game. Ole Miss has the capability to score, as we saw. They have the capability to be explosive, as we've seen, but they cannot be one-dimensional like they were last week against Georgia. If that happens, they will lose again. Oklahoma. Great bounce back spot against South Carolina, a team that's struggling offensively, struggling in all aspects of the game, really. You look at that Texas loss, it was inexcusable. It was really bad. They rushed John Mateer back. They shouldn't have done that. And the reason they lost was because of the 3 interceptions. The reason they lost was because of the 75-yard punt return they gave to Texas, right? They had a decent bounce back game against the Gamecocks, though, right? John Mateer a little bit more healthy, a little bit more balanced of an offense. The Sooners had 319 yards, 148 through the air, 171 on the ground. Mateer had 150 passing yards and a touchdown. So much cleaner game, not necessarily the most exciting game, but a win is a win, especially on the road in the SEC. They've got to find a way to open up this passing game, though. It was great that they ran the rock as well as they did against South Carolina. And I do think that needs to be the recipe coming into this game is to establish the run first, right? Ole Miss, we'll touch on defense in a second, but they struggled mightily in stopping the run against Georgia, have struggled mightily stopping the run all year long, especially against mobile quarterbacks, which John Mateer is. So if you're Oklahoma, establish the run, but utilize Mateer. Get him involved in some design QB runs. You run the ball effectively, you run it early and often, it's going to set up the pass. This passing attack is averaging nearly 250 passing yards per game. 4 different guys have at least 200 reception yards, led by Isaiah Satania. You've got to get that going again with John Mateer. Wasn't there against Texas. He was hurt before that, obviously. Really wasn't there much against South Carolina. Get it going again. It will open up if you establish that run. And it's got to be established early and often because Ole Miss is not good defensively. They're just not. And they're certainly not good against the run defensively. 98th in the nation in stopping the run, giving up over 166 rushing yards per game. They just gave up 221 rushing yards to Georgia, including 59 to Gunnar Stockton, their quarterback. Stockton also had nearly 300 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. So Ole Miss has got to find a way to adjust. But the question is, how do you adjust? How do you adjust? Okay, great. You shut down the run. You shut down Oklahoma's running backs. Have you shut down John Mateer? Have you shut down John Mateer? And if you shut down John Mateer in the running game, are you going to be able to shut him down in the secondary with a passing attack that has been very potent? So it's a tough test for an Ole Miss defense that, again, really hasn't been all that great. They've only forced 4 turnovers this year. They've only accounted for 10 sacks this year. They're not generating much pressure, and if you don't generate pressure, especially on the road, you're going to give Mateer way too much time either to make the play through the air or to improvise, roll out of the pocket, and make a play with his legs. So Ole Miss, your recipe's got to be, as good as Oklahoma's passing game's been, you almost want them to pass the ball because you've been so bad at stopping the run. So Oklahoma's going to come in here, try to pound the rock, trying to bully you up front. How do you find a way to stop that, especially when you really haven't done it all year long and just got torched, as we mentioned, on the road against Georgia? Oklahoma, their defense is good. It's good. They currently own the number 1 defense in the entire country, so that's pretty good. 213 yards per game. That's all the Sooners are giving up. They are 4th in the nation in stopping the pass, giving up just 132 passing yards per game. They're 3rd in the nation in stopping the run, giving up just 80 rushing yards per game. And as we mentioned, that loss to Texas, they allowed, I think, a little over 300 yards in that game. But again, 3 turnovers did them in. The 75-yard punt return did them in. I think that was quite the anomaly. And I think the game would have looked a little bit different, maybe from a result perspective, but certainly from a stats perspective, had Oklahoma not started John Mateer. I don't think he should have played. 28 sacks, though, for the Sooners. They know how to generate pressure. 28 sacks, 5.5 of those coming from R. Mason Thomas. This is the best defense, I think, that Ole Miss has seen all year long. Better than Georgia, because Georgia clearly has some weaknesses. They've clearly got some weaknesses, and we knew that going into the game. Best defense they've seen all year long in a very hostile road environment. They couldn't run the ball. Ole Miss, they couldn't run the ball against Georgia. 88 rushing yards on the day, and again, about half of those coming from your quarterback. Do we expect them to do that now against one of the best rushing defenses in the country? And so if you're Oklahoma, make sure you shut down the run, and force Trinidad Chambliss to win the game through the air. He had a great game through the air against Georgia, but you have one of the best secondaries in the nation, right? 4th in the country. So again, and you look at the number. Oklahoma hasn't played that many great teams. Michigan, Bryce Underwood came into town, right? That wasn't the most electric offense. That was back in week 2. They played South Carolina. They've got a bad offense, right? Texas doesn't even have that good of an offense. They just benefited from the mistakes that Oklahoma made. So, this is arguably the best, maybe, offense that Oklahoma has faced all year long. You could absolutely make the case for that. So maybe they are able to get exploited defensively. But if you're Oklahoma, you're still forcing the young quarterback in Chambliss to win the game through the air, limiting his mobility, and again, forcing them to air it out as early and often as possible, making Ole Miss one-dimensional, just like Georgia did. And as we saw, that was the difference maker. In that 4th quarter, Ole Miss was held to 13 yards against the Bulldogs. Georgia's defense woke up, they limited them, and Ole Miss's defense got worn down because their offense, one-dimensional, could not sustain the drives. And even if Ole Miss scores quickly, like they did a few times against Georgia, that's not always a good thing for their defense if they're already winded. And I think Oklahoma's going to try to find a similar recipe of success, just like Georgia had. So ultimately, guys, if it's not obvious already, I'm going to pick Oklahoma here, right? I think Ole Miss is a dang good football team. But I think this is a really bad matchup. I think this is, again, a really dangerous Oklahoma defense, an offense that is getting back to finding themselves. I think John Mateer should be even healthier than he was against South Carolina. Another week of rest, another week of healing. Should get back to throwing the ball the way they were. And again, he won't even have to do that much if Ole Miss can't stop the run, which Oklahoma is very good at doing. And Ole Miss, as we mentioned, is not good at stopping it. So I look at this game, I got to go Oklahoma. They've got home field advantage. It's an early morning game. Maybe Ole Miss a little hung over following that game against Georgia. Again, they felt they should have won. Again, led by 9 entering the fourth quarter. So early morning, on the road, hung over from Georgia. Oklahoma got everything left in front of them. They have to win this game because the schedule is so daunting the rest of the way. Give me the Sooners to win this game. I think they're a better team than Georgia on both sides of the ball, certainly statistically at least. They get the job done. They keep their playoff hopes alive. Many will try to tell you that Ole Miss's dreams end here. I disagree. I'm not saying they're a lock for the playoff by any means, but the schedule is so easy the rest of the way. There's a very good chance Ole Miss finishes at 10-2. They'll be one of those teams that we debate. Are they in? Are they not? They begin as the 10 seed, the 11 seed. They're going to have to sweat it out a little bit on Selection Sunday. But even with this loss, they still have a very good chance at making the college football playoff. The Sooners, though, are the ones that will ultimately get the win. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. Do not miss out on those. Again, the link down in the description below. Join today, win big with us today as a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.